What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new update around Liverpool's transfer news, because Liverpool are ready to finalize the deals for Marc Guehi and also for Alexander Isak, at least on transfer deadline day, which is on Monday, because Liverpool have already agreed personal terms with Marc Guehi and Alexander Isak. The problem is that Liverpool need to wait for their respective clubs to find replacements, and the Newcastle are getting closer to finding replacements for Isak, and Crystal Palace are also pushing to replace Marc Guehi. But what I don't understand is that Crystal Palace sold Eberechi Eze to Arsenal without getting a replacement in first. Maybe they realized that was a big mistake and now they want to sell Marc Guehi only after they get a replacement in. But also I think there is another factor, that Crystal Palace play today in the Conference League playoffs second leg against Fredrikstad, I think, which is a Swedish club. They play away from home after winning the first leg 1-0, and they want Marc Guehi to help them get over the line and get into the Conference League group stage. This is Crystal Palace's first ever European campaign in their history, so this is a huge game for them, a historic game, and they want Marc Guehi to play. And after that, I think they will be more open to selling. And you could also say that Liverpool allowing Crystal Palace to use Marc Guehi in this Conference League playoff could be that £5 million bargaining chip that is played by Liverpool, because if Crystal Palace get into the Conference League group stage with the help of Marc Guehi playing at centre-back, that surely will generate them 20 to 30 million pounds. I'm not sure how much Chelsea earned from winning the Conference League, but Crystal Palace could go close to winning the Conference League because they are that much stronger than any other team. And what is also very encouraging is that Crystal Palace are actively looking to sign a replacement for Marc Guehi. They are looking to sign centre-backs. But so far, being respectful in this transfer window worked out for Richard Hughes, because Richard Hughes let Florian Wirtz go on vacation before finalising a transfer, and that worked out really well. And also Liverpool have let Guehi play the Community Shield final and also the Conference League playoffs before hopefully getting Marc Guehi transfer over the line. And also we said to Newcastle, if you let us have Alexander Isak, you can have Ekitike. But when Newcastle returned saying that no, we are not selling you Alexander Isak, the Liverpool went in and signed Hugo Ekitike quickly. And I think ultimately that was the right decision, because Newcastle still, and this is now Thursday, and on Monday the transfer window is slammed shut, and Newcastle still to this day haven't signed a striker replacement, which is just absolutely ridiculous. But of course Monday's deadline day could be a little bit strange, because many players who are moving in the transfer window on the last day, they are or they will be going to international duty. And I personally think Liverpool will sign Marc Guehi, and I'm not so sure about Alexander Isak. I don't think Liverpool will sign anybody else if they can get the Marc Guehi and Alexander Isak transfers over the line. But Liverpool are taking a massive risk with leaving it so late, because I think we just wanted to leave that space open for Alexander Isak. But maybe Liverpool and Arne Slot looked at Federico Chiesa and Gumoa as two viable options that could mitigate this risk. But yeah, Liverpool only having Gakpo, Ekitike and Salah as our main front three, and not having really backups. Like Chiesa has hardly ever been used last season, and Gumoa is just 16, turning 17 years old in a few days. Is he a viable option? Not really, not a proper first team option yet, because he's just too young, and also the manager probably won't start Rio and Gumoa in a Premier League game all season. But I'm not even sure that Arne Slot would start Chiesa in a really big Premier League or Champions League game. I don't think he trusts him enough, and that's why it's pretty hard to call Federico Chiesa or Rio and Gumoa proper first team options. And without them, Liverpool's attack is really down to the bare bones, because we don't have any backup for Gakpo, Ekitike, and Salah's backup is Jeremy Frimpong, who is out injured at the moment. If Liverpool get Isak, that completely changes it, because then if Isak plays, Ekitike can be an option on the left wing, he could start in place of Gakpo. And also maybe this is why Liverpool have waited until the last days of the transfer window to sell Harvey Elliott, because we still want to see whether we can get Alexander Isak, and if not, then maybe we will keep Harvey Elliott as an option for the right wing. The problem is, what happens if Salah or Ekitike or Gakpo gets a big injury and we don't sign Alexander Isak? If Gakpo gets a big injury, we don't have a proper left wing option. As I said, Rio Ngomo is too young, and Chiesa is not really that fancied by Arne Slot. So Liverpool, I think, should still bring in a winger like Malik Fofana from Lyon. And Louis Steele has also commented on this situation in the Daily Mail. He said that Liverpool remain in talks to sign Marc Guehi, as revealed by the Mail Sport newspaper on Tuesday. They have held further discussions with Crystal Palace this week, and they are prepared to pay around £30 million, maybe even slightly more, to get the deal done. But it all depends on the Crystal Palace chairman, Steve Parish. Will he agree to that? One of the big factors will be whether Crystal Palace can buy a replacement or not in time. And it has been reported that they are after a number of centre-backs. Personal terms would not be an issue with Marc Guehi if he gets the green light to leave, because he wants to sign for Liverpool. He has waited for Liverpool all of the transfer window. Where he wants to move, whether it is now or whether it's on a free transfer 1 year from now or even January. So this is a waiting game. The same can be said about Alexander Isak. Not what you want to hear, of course, but it is the truth, and it is the same story as this time 2 weeks ago. When and if, and it's a bigger if with every passing day, Newcastle sign one striker or two strikers, Isak should be allowed to leave. But the big problem is Newcastle still haven't signed anyone, haven't done anyone over the line, and Roma also want to take Tsimikas on loan. Liverpool don't really need free left backs with Kerkez, Robertson and Tsimikas still at the club. So Tsimikas will probably go to Roma on loan or to another club in the last few days. And Harvey Elliott is more likely to stay than leave Liverpool this summer. That's what Louis Steele said. And this could be a surprise, because throughout the whole summer many people expected Harvey Elliott to leave. Many clubs have been in talks with Liverpool to try and get this Harvey Elliott deal done, with Leipzig, Crystal Palace, Brighton. But none of those clubs have put any official approaches or like big money offers on the table, because Liverpool value Harvey Elliott at 45 million pounds, and none of these clubs have been prepared to pay that kind of money for Harvey Elliott. Also, Arne Slot knows that the attacking strength in depth is very light at the moment, so Elliott could be needed. Also, Spanish midfielder Stefan Bajcetic is likely to stay. He has spent last season on loan at Salzburg and Las Palmas as a 20-year-old, and he's getting closer to fitness after missing pre-season, as his talents were part of the reason why Tyler Morton was allowed to leave. He made a great start to his Lyon career. Keith Downey and other journalists are also reporting that Newcastle are expected to make an even higher offer for Strand Larsen of around £60 million, because Strand Larsen signaled to Wolves and to Newcastle that he wants to sign for Newcastle. But Newcastle are leaving this awfully late, because Wolves will have very little time to sign a proper replacement, and until then they are in the same situation as Newcastle with Isak. Until they sign a replacement, they don't want to sell Strand Larsen. Newcastle already have seen 2 bids rejected. The latest one was worth £55 million, and Wolves' position is still that Strand Larsen is not for sale, especially with such little time to find a replacement. And that's what's annoying me about Newcastle, that they weren't really desperate to sign a striker. They could have signed Šeško if they went early for him in May or at the beginning of June. They could have signed easily Strand Larsen if they went earlier for him, like a month ago. But I think Newcastle always wanted to keep Alexander Isak. That was their main objective, and it could be happening. But I think maybe Alexander Isak could have told Newcastle also earlier that he wants to leave. And also Nicholas Jackson wants to go to Newcastle. Chelsea want to sell him. So that deal could happen, but Newcastle, it just feels to me that Newcastle are not really serious about signing a striker. They are not a serious football club at the moment. They are like joking at the moment, and I don't understand why they are doing it, because they seriously run the risk of leaving themselves short without a proper striker who actually wants to play for them, because Alexander Isak might not want to play for Newcastle after the transfer window closes, and Nicholas Jackson would be a fantastic signing, I think. So that transfer should be done by Newcastle, but at the moment they are refusing to pay the asking price of Chelsea, which is around 60, 65, 70 million pounds. And if Newcastle continue to be in denial and refuse to sell Isak, so do you think that he will have one long injury layoff, Alexander Isak, until December, or will he have 3 or 4 weeks of injuries stacked on top of each other until Alexander Isak gets his move? Of course, he will want to play for Sweden, so he will probably have a few injury issues between the international breaks. But during the international break, I think Alexander Isak will play for Sweden. But I think between the international breaks, Alexander Isak won't want to play for Newcastle. At least that's my prediction. And I think having Stefan Bajcetic at Liverpool will be a really good option. My only concern is I hope he stays fit, because when he is fit, he's a really good option to have, and hopefully Liverpool can use him in the Premier League and in the Champions League, because we need a midfield option like Stefan Bajcetic. And that's it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.